StudyIQ IAS, अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।
Hello everyone, I hope this message finds you fit and fine. Welcome to Lakshmikant series. And thus, today we need to talk about Office of Vice President. But before we jump in, let's start with some questions. First of all, what is position of Vice President? What? Why it was created? The rationale behind. When we are saying Vice President, does it mean that some power of President are shared with Vice President? Is it true or is it false? Some questions should come into your mind like, what is the role of Vice President? How Vice President is elected? How Vice President is removed? And how India's Vice President is different from US Vice President. You know that as of now, US Vice President is a person of origin. Miss Kamala Harris, right? So we should know the differentiation and the fact there that India's Vice President office modeled on US Vice President, but still there is difference on these premises, right? And when we are going to go into provisions, I request you reflect, revise how these removal process, election process role different from president. It would be easier for you to retain if you actually understand polity, having this comparative, this is simultaneous. So let's start with the basics. Vice President, second highest, you can say, authority in terms of ranking in president. When I'm saying second highest authority, some people actually relate with the word authority in terms of power. But here I'm just saying that in official variant of precedence, Vice President is second position. But if you ask, sir, if we compare the power of President and Vice President, can we say that Vice President also has considerable amount of power? Although we have talked about the kind of power President has, right? And many times President acts like a ceremonial head. All of you know this by now. There is a word used for Vice President, that is His Superfluous Highness. It means second position is given, but when it comes to the kind of power, responsibilities given by our constitution, they don't match with the second position. Okay, so please remember this word, His Superfluous Highness. Okay, we are going to mention it later as well. As I told you that this position is modeled on the position of Vice President of US, and these provisions are mentioned in Article 73. Let's talk about election. In Office of President, election were direct or indirect? You would say, sir, indirect, because people were not participating early. In case of Vice President, like you and me, are not voting, right? Considering you are not MP of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, right? That means no election direct, means no direct in, right? Proportional representation, single transfer vote. Point to remember that the process, the concept is same. Whenever I'm going to put a tick, you can find, okay, is this part is same as we discussed in with respect to the position of president. Okay, proportional representation, single transfer vote, and I explain what these terms mean by previous video, right? Those who have not watched, you can part and it will take work for you to understand it. If you have any doubt at any point, then you can just shoot a message on my personal Insta, Shashank.powerbeing, OWE. For any question which you think is a bit tricky for you to understand, just shoot me. Now, secret ballot voting. What does it mean? Consider that you are MP of Rajya Sabha and you have voted in this Vice President election. And as you came out, media was there, and media asked, sir, you have voted. And you said, I'm not going to say you I have voted. this secret ballot vote, but I am with this symbol. So you try to play smart, but my friend, your vote will be cancelled. Why? Because you said I am with this symbol. What does it mean? It means you have voted in favor of a candidate who is supported by Congress party. On this ground, the vote can be cancelled. Okay? So it should be C till results are announced. Indirect election, I told you. And what kind of indirect? Here, the members of parliament, both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, they participate in this. In case of president election, I told specific, I stressed on this word, elected members of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, elected members of state legislative, elected member. Then we talked about two Delhi and Pune. I gave you example of Jammu and Kashmir as well. Now, what is here? It clearly Sabha, Rajya Sabha members. It means all members. There is no differentiation between nominated elected members when it comes to election of vice president. I think it is quite clear now. It should be crystal clear in your mind, right? And that's why I'm saying just differentiate. It will be quite easy for you to remember. States are not included. I just told you. Because we are talking about vice president here. Only parliament members are participating. Clear? And you should ask at this point, why state not included? It was a harm. Why constitution framers did not add a state? Because the kind of position which vice president holds not have a kind of power which is going to affect the interest of state. Because moreover, vice president is there to ensure political continuity. And second, act as Rajya Sabha chairman. Now some of you would say, what is this political continuity you are talking about? Consider, president dies, and you know, any bill which you present in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, it needs to be passed by both houses, and then it needs to be presented by the honorable president. After he signs, then this bill will convert into an act. I'm saying, and dies. What is going to happen with the law making process? Someone to be in this position, if president is not in position, act. At this point, vice president act as acting president. So that is why I'm saying this is one that is political continuity. Okay, and I'm telling you this because just interlink thing. Okay. Second, I told you that vice president acts as chairman of Rajya Sabha. Duty of chairman. Have you watched any proceeding of Rajya Sabha? Rajya Sabha TV as well. Channel. You will see that vice president is sitting, and the whole house members are sitting, and vice president, the office of vice president, decide, okay, which bill is going to be priority, which person is going to be given chance to participate into this debate, which questions are going to be taken up. So it means the house are decided by vice president, and when vice president is acting in this manner, so the word chairman of Rajya Sabha, and we use the word acts of the chairman. It means whoever is going to become vice president of India, automatically this person is going to be in the position of chairman of Rajya Sabha. Clearly, automatically. Clear. 20 electors as proposers. Now coming back to the election process. In president election, I told you cannot just stand up one fine day and say, mother, I am going to fight election of president. No. First thing you need to know qualifications, and second you need support. In case of president, I told you 50 members of electorate propose your name. Proposer. 50 members of electorate. Electorate means members who are going to participate in your election need to second your name, right? Then only your name will be considered, right? In case of vice president, because vice president is second in the precedent, you only need 20 electors as proposers and 20 electors as seconders. And when I'm saying elector, it means members who are going to participate in voting process. Means I'm talking about Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha members, whether they are nominated, whether they are elected. It is clear to you now? Now, 15,000 deposit is same in case of president as well. Security deposit, right? And I also told you if 1/6 vote fail to acquire, then what is going to happen? The amount is going to be forfeited. You have wasted the time of this election process. Right? You are not the credible candidate. Now, let's compare president election with the vice president. As I told you, all MPs, all elected MPs, all elected MLAs of state legislature, they participate in presidential election. In this case, only MPs, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. No differentiation of nominated, all MPs of Lok Sabha. Can nominated members vote in case of president election? No. Strict no. Right? In case of vice president, yes. As I told you, there is no differentiation. ऐसा कोई भेदभाव नहीं है. Right? Now, value of each. Just revise, reflect what we discussed there. I told you that value of vote of an MLA in a particular state differentiate from the vote value for MLA of different states. For example, in case of president election, consider one member of state legislative assembly, elected member, is from CUP. So one MLA from UP is voting, another MLA from Mizoram is voting. Vote value depends on population upon number of elected state legislative assemblies, multiply by 1/1000. Told you that, right? In case of MPs, I told you total vote value of all MLAs, all states, divided by total number of seats elected, right? I told you the formula. Now UPSC is not going to ask specifically on formula, but understanding of formula should be there. Their question can be, right? I also asked this question from you, that vote value of MP and MLA is going to be different. Vote value of MP of Lok Sabha and MP of Rajya Sabha will be, because in case of vote value of MP, I just see one formula, and there I have not given you any differentiation between Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. I am not differentiating, giving you just one formula and using the word MP, member of parliament. That person can be member of parliament in Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha, right? Quite logical. So we discussed this, right? And this population is taken on 1971, right? But in case of vice president, one vote, one value, right? This kind of SIAPA is not there in case of vice president. Clear? Eligibility should be qualified to become member of Lok Sabha. I told you, member of Lok Sabha, right? So that qualification need not to be specified again and again. In case of vice president, the word is Rajya Sabha, should be qualified to be a member of Rajya Sabha. Nomination paper to be signed by, told you 50 voters as proposers, 50 voters as seconders. In this case, 20-20, right? So I think this differentiation is quite clear in your mind. If any question is asked on this basis, you will answer in plain, right?
कई बार मन में सवाल आता होगा कि इस प्रिपरेशन को शुरू तो कर दिया है, मजा भी आ रहा है, तभी आप इस वीडियो में हैं, सीखने को तो मिल रहा है, लेकिन क्या उतना पढ़ा जा रहा है जितना इस एग्जाम को क्लियर करने के लिए जरूरी है? क्योंकि अल्टीमेट ऑब्जेक्टिव तो क्या है? योर नेम इन मेरिट लिस्ट. तो देखिए, कंटेंट तो सेम है, लेकिन कंटेंट को यूज करने की हमें स्किल डेवलप करनी है. कैसे होगी वो स्किल डेवलप? पहले तो भाई टाइम से हर एक सब्जेक्ट का कंटेंट तैयार होना चाहिए. अगर आप वो कर रहे हैं, ठीक है, लेकिन इफ यू वांट टू टेक हेल्प, तो आप StudyIQ की हेल्प ले सकते हैं. जो StudyIQ का P2I प्रोग्राम है, आप StudyIQ ऐप या वेबसाइट पर देख सकते हैं. P2I मतलब प्रीलिम्स से लेकर इंटरव्यू तक का एक प्रोग्राम. तो ये एक प्रोग्राम के अंदर 4 फेजेस हैं. तो उस 4 फेजेस के थ्रू पहले ही फेज में आपका कंप्लीट सिलेबस हो जाएगा. तो इट इज लाइक द बेसिक थिंग, ये तो करना ही है. इसके बाद आता है कि हमें स्किल्स डेवलप करनी है, यानी कि उस कंटेंट का प्रीलिम्स में इस्तेमाल हो सके, उस कंटेंट का मेंस में इस्तेमाल हो सके, यानी कि आंसर राइटिंग. फिर हमें असेसमेंट चाहिए बीच बीच में, जिससे कि हमें कमियां पता लगती रहें. तो इसके लिए भी P2I में आपको प्रीलिम्स मेंस दोनों की टेस्ट सीरीज दी जा रही है। वीकेंड पर भी टेस्ट होते हैं, प्लस डेली मेंस आंसर राइटिंग होती है। तो आपको नहीं लगता अगर इतना कोई मेहनत आपके साथ कर ले तो आप करना तो चाहते हैं बट एक पाथवे नहीं है, तो पीटीआई प्रोग्राम वो पाथवे आपके लिए साबित हो सकता है। तो टेक हेल्प ऑफ दिस। फिर आपके मन में कभी कभी जो डाउट आता है उसको ढूंढने के लिए आपका काफी समय जाया हो जाता है। जाया इसलिए कह रहा हूं क्योंकि हो सकता है उस डाउट को ढूंढने के लिए आपने 1 घंटा लगा दिया, क्योंकि उससे एसोसिएटेड काफी सारी चीजें नई नई पता लगती चली गई आपको। ऐसे में इस टाइम को रिड्यूस कर सकते हैं आप एग्जाम ओरिएंटेड। क्या उस डाउट से रिलेटेड नॉलेज आपको चाहिए वो आपको एक पर्सनल मेंटोर बता सकता है। तो इस कोर्स में फैकल्टीज तो आपके साथ हैं ही, इस पूरी जर्नी में आपको पर्सनल मेंटोर दिया जा रहा है, आप उसकी हेल्प लीजिए। आप कॉल व्हाट्सएप पर कभी भी उनके साथ कनेक्ट हो सकते हैं। उनका नंबर आपको इस कोर्स में स्पेसिफिकली आपको अलॉट होगा। तो अल्टीमेटली आपका टाइम बचेगा, कॉन्फिडेंस आएगा प्रिपरेशन में। फिर जैसे आप प्रीलिम्स क्लियर कर लेते हैं तो उसके बाद मेंस रेजिडेंशियल प्रोग्राम, ये इसका सेकंड फेज मतलब थर्ड फेज कहिए, क्योंकि पहले फेज में फाउंडेशन है, फिर सक्सेस इन प्रीलिम्स है, फिर एमआरपीएम मेंस रेजिडेंशियल प्रोग्राम। फिर उसके लिए आप दिल्ली बुला लिया जाता है आपको। यहाँ पर आप मतलब जो फूडिंग लॉजिंग एवरीथिंग इज टेकन केयर बाय StudyIQ। और उसके बाद फिर रिगरस प्रिपरेशन होती है आपकी मेंस के हिसाब से, यानी कि हर एक जो आपका पेपर है, GS है, लैंग्वेज है, एसए है, हर एक की तैयारी यहीं पर हम आपको अपने सामने कराते हैं। उसके बाद जैसे आप मेंस क्लियर करते हैं तो इंटरव्यू गाइडेंस प्रोग्राम, वहाँ पर आपके कोहोर्ट्स बनते हैं जिसमें डिस्कशन के थ्रू जो आपके अदर एस्पिरेंट्स हैं जो आपके साथ इंटरव्यू देने वाले हैं, तो आप अपनी स्किल्स को पॉलिश करते हैं। साथ में ब्यूरोक्रेट्स, फॉर्मर टॉपर्स, ये सब फैकल्टीज आपको मिलकर गाइड करते हैं। फाइनली व्हेन यू आर थ्रू इनटू द मेरिट लिस्ट, देन फिर आपको लगता है कि हाँ, इट वाज ऑल वर्थ इट। मिलते हैं आपसे क्लासेस में, ख्याल रखिए। जय हिंद।
Now, qualification. Just check which qualifications are same as President of Citizen of India, 35 years and above age, should be qualified. This is different. Should be qualified, become member of Rajya Sabha. And this is same. Should not hold any office of profit. I told you office of profit, right? Not be any position in government simultaneously from where the person can drive salary or remuneration. Cannot happen. Oath. In case of president, was given by GI. GI is not there in most judge of Supreme, right? In case of vice president, oath is given by president. And if one statement is made, the UPSC, it says vice president is given oath only by president. Only by president. Vice president can be given oath by president. Now tell me the statement. Some of you would say, quite clear, president. But my friends, second statement as well. President is ill. President is not in India due to any reason. And in this case, president may actually appoint someone for this duty. So that person can actually give oath on the behalf of honorable. Right? So whenever UPSC throws an absolute statement for you, your antenna should get open, right? Alert. Right? Now conditions of office, this condition is same. What does it mean? You should not be a member of either House of Parliament or state legislature. You cannot be, okay, I am Vice President as well as MLA from UP, or I am MP from Lok Sabha or MP from Rajya Sabha. No. You are Rajya Sabha chairman, but you are not member of Rajya Sabha. When I am saying Rajya Sabha member, it means I am member of Parliament. You will not be on an MP Rajya Sabha, whether nominated or elected. This is uniqueness of Vice President position. You are chairman, but you are not member. You cannot sit among other members that like speaker in Lok Sabha can actually sit. Because speaker in Lok Sabha is also there to preside the can say proceedings of Lok Sabha. But for example, Mr. Om Birla is member of Parliament from Kota, right? And speaker's position, elected position. Members of Lok Sabha, they voted and decided, okay, we are going to make Om Birla ji as speaker. The member of Lok Sabha. But in case of Rajya Sabha, chairman, ex officio. whoever is going to be the vice president going to be the Rajya Sabha chairman, right? So Rajya Sabha chairman is not a member of Rajya Sabha, right? Clear? In case someone was member of Rajya Sabha or say member of Lok Sabha, and now that person is fighting for election for vice president. So in this case, the moment you win, your seat of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha MP is going to be cease to exist, will be removed from this position. This is mentioned here. So this particular discussion is same as we discussed in case of president as well, right? Then to not hold any office of profit, I just told you, and same in case of president as well. Now terms of office, 5 years. 5 years a term, same as case of vice president, president. Now whom vice president can resign? Can resign in writing to the president. Now my question, whom president gives resign? If president is resigning, this letter need to be addressed to whom? Option, vice president or CGI or prime minister or chief election commissioner. Tell me. And if UPSC would like to confuse, then UPSC say CGI gives honorable president, comma, and president gives resignation बात तो ठीक, correct, but that is why? Because president gives resignation to vice president. And if you ask, sir, what is the logic behind logic is that since vice president position is there to actually political continuity, right? And vice president is the one who has to act as acting president, absence of president. Which person need to be informed first? Obviously, vice president. So president gives resignation to vice president, right? And vice president gives, I hope you will remember now, can be removed by an absolute majority of Rajya Sabha. Now, remember, several editions of Lakshmikant are using the word absolute majority of Rajya Sabha. I have written mail to Lakshmikant many years back, I would say I think 5 years back. And my point was that if you look into official website of Rajya Sabha, in case of this removal process of Rajya Sabha chairman, they did not mention absolute majority as a word. You can just Google it, Rajya Sabha's official website. So what they say majority of all the then members of Rajya Sabha. This is the term. So all the then members means who are members of Rajya Sabha at that point. If certain seats are vacant, death, resignation, disqualification, any of these cases, then vacant seats are not going to, when you have to count the. So what we call this kind of majority, we call it active majority. And in one of the previous videos, I also the difference between majority, absolute, active majority, special majority, right? Remember, here can be removed by active majority. The position of this publisher was that there is no strict, you can say, demarcation, this word effective and absolute, any text of government. That is why absolute can also be. This was the reply. But I believe that we need specific, because when we use word absolute majority, case of you can say forming government, ensuring absolute majority in Lok Sabha, then the word absolute majority is more than 50% of strength. And there's a difference between total and total strength minus vacancy, right? When we say total strength, consider total strength was 100, but now vacant seats are 10. Means in these 10 seats, no one is member, and by-elections are yet to happen. In this case, effective strength will be 90, and effective majority will be more than 45, that is 46. right? But in case of absolute majority, total strength is 100, right? So for removing this vice president or say ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha, I need at least 51 member support. So don't you think there's a difference between 46 and, right? That is why I'm saying specific. Okay, 14 days notice is given, same as case of president. No specific ground of removal is mentioned in our constitution, but in case of president, there's a mention violation of constitution. Although what amounts to violation of constitution is not defined in our constitution, but in case of vice president, ground is even mentioned. Now, vacancy of office. When vice president office can be vacant? Number one, expiry of tenure of 5 years, resignation, removal, death, or there may be a case that election of vice president is declared null and void. Example, you fought for the office of vice president and your actual age was say 33, but you forged some documents, had some documented graduation and affidavit, and now you are saying that my age is 36, and by using documents got appointed as elected as vice president of India. But your contender, opposer, that person filed a petition, court and Supreme Court observed, yes, there are some proofs that you have the document, have wrongfully actually held this position. In this case, now what about the actions which you have taken in these? Consider that you were there in position for 2 months. So actions will not be invalidated. Okay? Actions will remain, right? Elections declared void. So this is the case, and any election dispute for vice president office is heard in Supreme, and decision of Supreme Court is final, binding. Same as in case of president election. In case of other reasons, vacancy, fresh elections need to be held as soon as possible. Newly elected we serve the full 5-year term. What does it mean? For example, someone was vice president for 2 years and then dies. Fresh elections happened, and now this person is not going to remain for 3 years. Okay, this person will remain in this 5-year term. Okay, I want you to question this. Question this. Actually think, and that is how you are going to master Indian polity. Anyone actually question this, that in case of president, in case of vacancy of president, we were saying that elections need to be held within 6 months. Mention that it need to be held in 6 months. Why such urgency not given for the vice president election, but such urgency? Answer is simple. Because if vice president is not there, what you stands to? Oh, you're not having Rajya Sabha chairman who is going to preside the Rajya Sabha. In the absence of vice president or Rajya Sabha chairman, deputy chairman is going to preside the Rajya Sabha. In regular, workings, exclusive powers, as as the person is vice president here, right? Most of the time, the utility of vice president position is Rajya Sabha chairman. But it is clear that it needs to be held as soon as possible. As soon as possible means priority is given. But election priority is not of equal distance as in case of president. Right? Now, election dispute, I told you Supreme Court. Election of a person as vice president cannot be challenged on the ground of electoral college. Same. It is not going to happen that, oh, now 15 or 20 MPs of Rajya Sabha or 15-20 MPs of Lok Sabha, they have resigned. And now they are saying, no, we don't want a vice president election to happen because we are not there. 40 seats are vacant. Electoral college is vacant. That's why you should stall. No. Vice president election is not going to stop for you. Okay. Election of vice president is declared void. The Supreme, I told you, acts done during this process by you for 2 months, they will remain valid. Okay? They will not be invalidated. Powers and functions. Ex officio chairperson of Rajya Sabha, that is the primary job, I told you. Power and functions similar to that of speaker in Lok Sabha, I told you, right? Like presiding, ensuring that session moves as per the set agenda, right? Along with if a case of disqualification of a Lok Sabha member is there, case of anti-defection, then the Lok Sabha speaker is there, has the power. And similarly, in case of anti-defection, if someone changes the position or actually there are allegations that that person is disqualified by anti-defection law, and Vice President is going to take example of JDU leader Sharad Yadav and Anwar Ali. The leader Sharad Yadav was disqualified by whom? Rajya Sabha chairman Venkaiah Naidu, Vice President. Right? Similarly, in case of Lok Sabha speaker, right? America Vice President also has similar law. They have two houses, Congress, Senate is upper house. So Vice President chairs the Senate. Okay? Session. Acting President when a sitting President is unable to discharge. I told you, na? One function is this. Another major function, political continuity, that is acting President. Has to act as President. Office of President vacant due to resignation, removal, death, otherwise, in this case, someone needs to continue as President. Can act as VP for maximum 6. What does it mean? Within the Election Commission has to ensure action, right? Fresh election of President need to happen. When acting as President, VP does not discharge duties of Chairman of Rajya Sabha. When VP becomes acting President, now that person is acting as, why that person is going to Rajya Sabha and perform the duty of Rajya Sabha? Those duties will be taken care of by Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha. Okay? And you should also know it. Point that Vice President, Rajya Sabha Chairman has a dedicated secretariat also. Secretariat. And who heads this secretariat? Rajya Sabha Chairman. But when this person becomes acting President, so in this scenario, that Rajya Sabha Chairman's responsibilities are delegated to Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha. Clear? Emoluments. Constitution has not fixed any emolument for the position of Vice President. No emolument. Now, is Vice President working for free? Obviously not. So this person derives this salary because that person is Rajya Sabha Chairman. So no salary in the name of Vice President, salary in the name of Rajya Sabha Chairman. Okay? When acting as President, gets salary and allowances for the President. In President chapter also, I told you, many times in Lakshmikant this line is quite straight, but UPSC can actually play on depth. Two cases are there. Number one, if President dies, resigns, impeached, it means no person is there holding the charge of President. In this case, when acting President acts as President, then salary, allowances, everything is given as given to President. But when President is alive, it is as if President is not fit to perform his duty or her duty. In this case, when Vice President is acting as President, acting President, now person is not going to draw the salary of President, because from Consolidated Fund of India, salary of President is already being 1%. So it is not possible that these two salaries will be given to same position. Okay, I hope you got the logic. If President is kidnapped, President is ill, President is outside India, and in this scenario someone needs to actually do the job of acting President, then Vice President can do. Do not expect salary. Can expect the power, okay, can expect the privileges, but not the salary. Salary in case of death, resignation, impeachment, right? Now, let's compare Indian and American Vice President. So, Indian VP office is based on the lines of American VP. I told you, American VP succeeds presidency. So, there were certain articles when Biden got elected as president and Kamala Harris as vice president. Many were saying there are high chances that Kamala Harris succeeds Biden as president. So those articles were on this premises that Biden person possible not be possible to actually complete your term. American president, therefore, 4 years, right? So if any thing happens, it is untoward. We should not say this. But if this happens, what is going to happen? What law says, what provision says, we should know. Then American VP succeeds presidency when it falls vacant and remains president for the unexpired term of predecessor. What does it mean? Consider, in 2 years, if US president die, right? So now Kamala Harris will become president of US for 2 years. Okay, but in case of India, there's no. In case of India, vice president can act as acting president, not president. Okay, if someone need to be president, the election need to. Indian VP only become acting president. I told you, the constitution has not assigned any significant function to the vice president in that capacity, and that is why this word high is superfluous highness is used. Right? Is president, board of presidents, second position, high ranking, but that not that much role is given. This office was created in view of maintaining political continuity. I told you this. Let's attempt this question. The resolution for removing of Vice President of India can be moved. Come on, resolution. So that this resolution can start. Rajya Sabha either. Answer is Rajya Sabha. Because Vice President is act as Chairman of Rajya Sabha, right? So this resolution presented as a first instance in Rajya Sabha, where it needs to be cleared by effective majority, and then it needs brought Sabha, and there it can be passed by simple majority. It's quite simple, right? So this is what is mentioned in explanation. So I hope now you are a bit confident, Vice President chapter, and now you are going to pay attention to the details. The devil is in the details. So if you have any doubt, you can message on shashank.powerbeing. This PDF is going to be available in Shashank Tyagi Ram group. See you in the next video. Till then, learning.
StudyIQ IAS अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।